Good Friday morning, everyone. Schuyler Callihan here with yet another edition of Between the Eers. It's our final one of the week. And yesterday, Wren Baker agreed to a two-year deal, or two-year extension, I should say, to keep him as the WVU AD through the year 2030. Before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button here on our YouTube page at Mountaineers Now. Give us a like and follow us on X at that same exact handle. This is a monumental move for West Virginia. And I know you're probably thinking it's just an AD. It's only 2 more years. What's the big deal? Well, just look at what Wren has done in his very short time as the athletic director. All the adversity that he has had to go through, all the choppy waters, and he has handled it with utmost class, professionalism, and has executed everything almost to a T. And I don't know that anybody, just anybody, could walk into the situation that he had walked into and come out of it pretty good in terms of finding the right coaches, keeping the culture in good shape, and also keeping the narrative about whatever program that is in good standing, and the support from the fan base to be as strong as ever. And Wren has been able to do that. When you go back a year ago, and I don't like to revisit this, I know everyone likes to bring up this 1-year anniversary of the Bob Huggins radio show like it's some celebratory mark or identification marker. I don't know why we're doing that. That's ridiculous. It happened a year ago. But for the sake of this video, when he walked into that situation, or no, he didn't walk into it, but when the situation arose, you thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? What are they going to do? And that thing could have got, I'd say, 10 times uglier than it did. And it was pretty ugly. Right? I mean, anytime you have a legendary Hall of Fame coach who's been at the program for 16 plus years, he's an alum, he's a West Virginian, he's somebody that the state and the fans love, and you have something like that happen, and you have the other incident that happened, and you kind of come to a decision where it's like, look, we can't have this happen. And Wren, I think, in along with the rest of the university, they did the right thing, I believe. And after the radio incident, to say, okay, well, we'll suspend you for the first X amount of games, but this can't happen anymore. And the second incident that came across, that was where they drew the line, and I think they made the right decision, to be honest with you. But that's not about my opinion. This isn't about my opinion. This isn't about what happened a year ago. This is just showing how Wren handled that situation about as best as he possibly could. Other ADs, they could have really screwed this whole situation up. They could have also went and hired a full-time head coach right away because they felt the panic of, oh my gosh, we just lost a Hall of Famer. We've got to have someone in place now. He didn't feel that pressure. Now, he went and did the national search, obviously settled on, Josh Schuyler as the interim, and that was probably the best move. You can't do an expedited search like that late into the process and then expect good results. It would have taken a really long time, and you probably wouldn't have got the guy that you wanted anyway. Are you getting a guy that's as accomplished and as well thought of as Darren DeVries? Probably not. Not that late. Now, they were talking to some other guys for sure that had some very good backgrounds, but are they guys that are going to be here very long? I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about John Beeline, talking about other guys that are, in their late 60s, early 70s, no offense to them, but age just isn't always a number. And to be able to get Darren DeVries, who's a younger coach, somebody you could build with, hopefully for the next 20 so years or so, that's the most ideal situation. Now, it may not work out, but on paper, it looks like a great hire. What he did with the women's basketball coaching search was phenomenal as well. Don Plitzwhite up and leaves after a year to go back home, or somewhat closer to back home. And that that's a tough situation, a tough transition, because that was technically their third head coach in 3 years whenever they hired Mark Kellogg. He goes, he hires Kellogg. They have this tremendous first season, ranked in the top 25 for a good portion of it. They make some noise in the Big 12. They almost beat Iowa. Probably should have beat Iowa. It wasn't for a few errant whistles. But hats off to him for that Mark Kellogg hire. Very good hire in Jenny Green for the volleyball team. Had their best program in years. And oh, yeah, probably the number one reason why Wren Baker was brought to West Virginia to evaluate Neil Brown and the football program. And in his first year, I'd say full year, they go 9-4 and finish fourth in the Big 12. Now, can you give all the credit in the world to Wren? No. That's a lot of that is Neil. A lot of that is his staff, his support staff, the hiring of Drew Fabianich, the kids, the ability to stay. But when you have an AD who can put things in place for you to be successful and to have NIL opportunities in place to really drive fans to donate money, and you have that strong support system, Wren gets a lot of credit. I'm not saying he gets the lion's share, but I don't find it ironic that the first full year that Wren is in place, the football team has their best season since Neil Brown's been on board. Now, would this have happened with another AD? Maybe. If Shane Lyons was still here, would it still happen? I don't know. I think you'd still have some retention issues. Wren knows how to generate dollars to the university and to the football program. And his outside of the box thinking is what West Virginia needs to be successful in today's college sports. Because if you go back 20, 30 years, I mean, there's always been the blue blood programs, right? You have the Ohio States, you have the Georgias, you have the USCs, the Notre Dames, the Alabamas, so on and so forth. But 20 to 30 years ago, there was a little more parity in college football. You had, West Virginia potentially playing for national championship. That same year, South Florida was a top 10 team. Rutgers was a top 10 team at one point. Louisville, before they became the Louisville that we all know now. But back then, Louisville being a top 10 team was like, what? UConn, for that matter. Connecticut. I mean, and they weren't the only ones. There's other schools just like that across the entire country that were finding themselves in the top 20, the top 25, top 10, so on and so forth. You're not getting that as much today. And a lot of that is because of the NIL, the portal. Some schools just don't have the foundation. They don't have the money. They don't have the support. And when you don't have that, kids are going to bounce. And I think that's a big part of why Wren Baker is here, to help prevent that from happening as best as he can. Now, obviously, he can't be hands-on with the stuff. We all know that. But there is some things that he can do, and he's hit every single one of those right on the head. And the outside of the box thinking also continues. And again, this isn't 100% his doing, but going out and hiring Drew Fabianich as your GM. You need that extra eye. You need that little extra role in your program to help you be successful, to beat others on guys that, are being overlooked by those said blue blood programs. And, they found Beanie Bishop last year. Who knows who that could be this year? And they're doing it at the high school ranks as well. On the basketball side, you do it with Nelson Hernandez, who is your GM. Now, he's not as accomplished, and he is accomplished, but he's not as, accomplished as Drew Fabianic, who was in the NFL for several years with the Dallas Cowboys. But he's well thought of. He's got NBA lineage. And I think that's going to play a massive role in the basketball team's success as well. Having that extra eye on talent and what you need for your team to succeed. And I also got to throw in the mix here too. Not that he had to really make a decision here, but the baseball team. Baseball team wins a Big 12 championship his first full year. The success, the overall health of the athletic program, in my opinion, is as strong as it's ever been from top to bottom. Men's and women's soccer, volleyball, men's and women's basketball, football, baseball, probably throw wrestling in there as well. Golf. It's all in a great spot. And I think Wren Baker has a lot to do with that. He's one of the best ADs in the entire country. That's not just a biased opinion. That is some opinion that a lot of people share all over. And he's a great fit for West Virginia. This was an absolutely great move for West Virginia. And it's only going to mean better things are coming. So let me know what you guys think here in the comment section on YouTube about the extension of Wren Baker, what he means to this university, your thoughts on him, which I believe are going to be overwhelmingly positive, considering that's all pretty much it's been since he's been here, despite all the negativity and all the adversity that he's had to go through. But thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Between the Ears. That'll do it for us this week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, give us a like, and go and follow us on X at the same handle. You can follow myself at Callihan_. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you back here next week. Take care.